Well, good morning, viewers from across the globe. Today is Monday, July 13th. Joy and Thanksgiving are sweeping across Oyo State as residents of Yawata held a special Thanksgiving service on Sunday to celebrate the rescue of all 46 school children and teachers freed on Friday, July 10th after 56 days in captivity. And over in the United States, world leaders and U.S. politicians are in mourning as tributes continue to pour in for Senator Lindsey Graham, a longtime Republican from South Carolina and close ally of President Donald Trump, who died at the age of 71 following a brief and sudden illness. Let's dive right in. I'm OjyOkpe, and this is what's trending. Before we dive deeper, let's see what you're talking about right now. We've been tracking conversations on X, Facebook, our YouTube live feed, and of course, Leke. And 3 stories are dominating your timelines this morning. Trending at number 1, First Lady Senator Remi Tinubu is generating fierce reactions once again after calling on Burna Boy, Davido, and Asake to establish charitable foundations to help poor Nigerians, saying that the burden on the government is huge. Social media is on fire. Trending at number 2, Aviation Minister Keyamo has ordered NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi to apologize to airport staff and pay a 25,000 naira fine for wrongful parking within 1 week or face fan action following a viral interview in which Peter Obi alleged the federal government is targeting him, and Nigerians are asking, is this governance or politics? And trending at number 3, Ugandan army chief and son of President Yoweri Museveni has gone viral again, demanding that US rapper Jay-Z hand over his wife Beyonce to him for marriage. Dr. Bati has a lot to say about this story, and Ugandan social media cannot stop talking about it. Now, here is where you come in. Join the conversation. Use the hashtag What's Trending with OjyOkpe. Comment on our live feed, and of course, Leke. Tell me which of these stories matters most to you, because for the next hour, we're going into everything that has Nigeria and the rest of the world buzzing. But first, Defense Headquarters has released dramatic footage showing exactly how security forces secured the release of the Ogbomoso school children and teachers after 56 days in captivity. Let's watch.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria, in collaboration with other security agencies, successfully rescued the students, teachers, and other passengers who were abducted in Oyo State. The coordinated operations was conducted following credible intelligence and sustained search efforts across the affected area. The operation involved personnel from the Nigerian Navy Special Boat Service, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force, the Department of State Services, the Nigerian Police Force, and other security components. Through effective interagency collaboration, the security forces located the victims and secured their safe rescue while intensifying efforts to apprehend the perpetrators. The successful rescue underscores the commitment of the Armed Forces of Nigeria and other security agencies to safeguarding lives, maintaining national security through joint operations and intelligence-driven missions.
Take more. All right. You're welcome.
Thank you, Josie.
All right. So take care. Okay. This far is okay. The husband is fine. Okay?
Everybody is fine.
I will not. We saw you. Don't worry.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. You're okay.
We'll take care of it. Don't worry, you get your car now. We'll get your car. So, we'll take care of it.
No, sir. Our father, we are grateful. The president, sir, we are grateful. We understand your commitment to our safety and we appreciate all you did for us. We could see your hand. Thank you very much. And every security operative, they tried so much, and that is why we are still alive now. We are very grateful to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
Recommendations are in order for our troops for rescuing all 39 school children and 5 teachers held hostage after 56 agonizing days in captivity. Their freedom is priceless. The armed forces arrested 8 kidnappers, neutralized others, and no ransom was paid. Governor Seyi Makinde, who visited the rescued victims over the weekend, revealed that some security personnel lost their lives during the rescue operation, adding that while the victims were relieved, many are still battling the psychological effects of their ordeal and urged support for their recovery. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning.
Good
Ayo.
morning.
Good morning.
Oji, a good day.
Rufai. It is a good day. Nigerians are celebrating, and commendations to our troops. Really, like I said, you know, some security personnel lost their lives, according to Governor Seyi Makinde. They paid the ultimate price, of course, as well as the teachers. But you know, this has come under severe politics at this moment, and this is what I want to highlight. Then we can discuss that. But the politics arrived almost immediately after the rescue efforts. Presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga called out former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for staying silent 18 hours after the rescue, despite using the abduction as a campaign weapon for 56 days. Onanuga gave a rare backhanded compliment to Peter Obi, who called for Thanksgiving without directly commending the president. Well, Atiku then fired back through his spokesman, Phrank Shaibu, describing it as striking and shocking that the children were freed on the very same day APC officially launched its door-to-door campaign for the 2027 presidential election. He also criticized President Tinubu for not personally addressing the nation after the rescue, declaring that the commander-in-chief is more than a constitutional title. It is a moral responsibility. Well, Nigerians online had a simple message for everyone. Stop playing politics, playing dirty politics with the lives of children. The children are home, and that's all that matters today. And I'll read a post on X from Abraham, who wrote, Nigeria truly has entered one chance. Yes, we're all glad and happy that the school children and teachers have been released. But the big question is, are we out of the woods yet? Can we travel without fear of being kidnapped? Can we sleep with our 2 eyes closed? These are the things that should be worrying a serious government, and not whether Atiku has congratulated the president for the release or not. Meanwhile, Governor Seyi Makinde, in a now trending video, called out the timing of the kidnappings, questioning why it happened just hours after he decided to run for president. Makinde made the remarks while meeting with Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed hours before the presidency announced the rescue. Let's take a look.
For 7 years, we didn't witness anything like this in Oyo State. I declared to run for the presidency of Nigeria at 4 o'clock, and by 9 a.m. the following morning, the children were abducted.
Well, Makinde's allegation is explosive, implying the kidnapping was politically motivated to destabilize his presidential ambitions. The presidency has not yet directly responded to this specific claim, but it adds yet another political dimension to a crisis that should have been above politics from the very beginning. Dr. Abati, over to you.
Well, I said earlier that it's presumptuous on the part of Governor Seyi Makinde to think that the rescue of the children has anything to do with his political ambition. His political ambition is totally irrelevant to this subject, and it is not important enough. And it is delusionary For him to say, oh, because he declared for the presidency today, then the very following day, children were abducted in Oyo State. What exactly is he trying to say? He should be clear with his communication, because what he's suggesting is something that doesn't make sense anyhow. Because he's trying to suggest that the APC government or that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu personally staged the abduction because he wants to be president. I don't think President Seyi Makinde poses any threat to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's
president already.
President Seyi Makinde.
Okay, yeah, since he says he wants to be president, I don't think that Governor Seyi Makinde's presidential ambition poses any threat to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidential ambition. So there's an element of delusion here. I think that the politicians involved, including Mr. Bayo Onanuga himself, who said, Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar has not issued a statement. After all, Peter Obi has spoken, or that what is Atiku saying, and Atiku saying, well, APC is already celebrating their imaginary victory in the 2027 election. No, we are not interested in what politicians think. What we are interested in is that our politicians should also be interested in the overarching subject of safety, security, and welfare of the Nigerian people. And that is why people are celebrating. In the various Thanksgiving services that we have seen, at the church service over the weekend, people have been jubilating. In fact, wives have been more jubilant than even husbands. There was one woman who was very happy that her husband has been rescued. And Mrs. Alamu, the principal of the affected school, the first person she asked for is her husband. And I've been saying that, look, there is a moral lesson here, that we are all together. People who are close to you, people who will be affected if anything happens to you, they are important. The family remains the most important unit of a society. So I think the politicization of it is totally irrelevant. That's why we have commended the security agencies working together in concert. The military, the police, the DSS, who have been able to achieve this objective. The other leg of it, I probably will not classify that as political. The statement from the Arewa Consultative Forum and the Northern Leaders Forum, saying that there are other people elsewhere who also need to be rescued. 176 persons abducted from Woro community in Kwara State local government since February. They should also be rescued.
Yes.
The 41 students from a school in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. Yes. They are also in need of rescue, as well as other persons. So we commend government that this has been done. By whatever strategy that they did it, they should also try and apply the same ingenuity to make sure that other persons in the areas that have been mentioned are also rescued, and that in the long term, this environment becomes very safe for everybody.
All right. Because
on Saturday, in the same Oyo State, the headmaster of a particular school was also one Mr. Olawade, also Mr. Kolawale Olawade, was also abducted. So the threat is real, is continuing. This is not politics. This is about safety of lives and property.
Very well said, Dr. Abati. Well, Ayo, over the weekend, jubilation spread across communities in Oyo State as the school children and teachers regained their freedom. Ogbomoso was lit up, as seen in this now viral video showing the convoy transporting the victims, with residents applauding the armed forces' efforts. Let's take a look.
All right, you're back. All right, congratulations. Welcome. Congratulations. Life attacking roundabout. This is the rescue team. Congratulations. Ogbomoso Akwari, our military online. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, Nigerian police. Thank you. Welcome. This is Ogbomoso Focus TV. All right. Congratulations. Adúpẹ́. Welcome. Congratulations, Nigerians. Ogbomoso akú oríire. The rescue. Oríta Taki Ogbomoso, ibẹ̀ la wà báyìí. The rescue has been done. Congratulations. Oríta Taki Ogbomoso, ibẹ̀ la wà yìí. Wọ́n ti kó àwọn ọmọ wa dé o. Congratulations.
This was so exciting to watch. Thank you to our troops again. But this jubilation also came with mixed feelings. 2 teachers paid the ultimate price. One killed during the abduction, another beheaded in captivity. And some security personnel also lost their lives during the rescue operation. Their sacrifice made this victory possible. Their sacrifice must never be forgotten, even as Nigeria celebrates. Welcome home, our children of Orire. I mean, for me, I was so excited watching this video. For me, this is the most amazing rescue I've seen in recent days. We had videos from the defense headquarters showing how they rescued the victims. We had kidnappers arrested. We saw their videos. Kudos again to the armed forces of Nigeria, really. Yes,
you say Ekurire.
Really completely commendable. Yes, the name.
Not whatever you do, don't change the name of that local government.
Fantastic.
But I think, like you said, Oji, this morning we must celebrate very loudly the Nigerian security agencies, the Nigerian Army, the Navy, the DSS, the police, all the coordinated efforts that ensured that Nigeria is celebrating this morning. The news went, it was like wildfire. Everybody in religious circles, they were saying, oh God, praise God. There were, Thanksgiving and, just prayers being held to say thanks to God. And of course, the government was out. This was a fine moment for the Tinubu administration. Thankfully, what happened, we didn't have a repeat of what happened with Chibok. And thank you for saluting and paying homage to the people who lost their lives, the teachers who unfortunately died, and the security operatives. But I think that's why the big question, or the big conversation now that we are celebrating, is how do we ensure that this celebration is replicated in areas where they still have people in captivity? Places like Borno State, Niger State that has been identified, Kwara State where they still have people in captivity. We want this sound of rejoicing to resound across the nation. So they've done fantastically well. We celebrated them this morning, and we say that this is a big message to terrorists who are still out there, that they will come for you.
They will.
The Nigerian government has shown capacity, they have shown competency, and it is only a matter of time they are coming for you. Not the days of negotiation and you having over. We have seen what intelligence-led operations can achieve, and this is what played out. I said earlier that it played out. If you read, there's a This Day report that details what ensued, and what happened there is tantamount to these thriller movies you see, shores above. I hope that Nollywood will take a leaf and actually make a movie out of this. Talking about how they were able to track down their relatives, wives and children. Yes, don't arrest people if they are not guilty. But, we said earlier, it's madness that you used to respond to madness. And so when they saw that their own family members were,
madness as only on the right.
But truthfully, when they saw that they are family members, and they got this through intelligence, through intercepting their calls with their family members. And so what they did was that they took them on, and then the people said that, okay, this is not a wise decision, and then unconditionally released. And this is when we say that we don't always ask the question of what happened during the release. If you can show workings like this, as in Nigerian Palace, that we see how it worked. Some were neutralized and some were arrested, and hopefully can reveal even to a broader nature, how we can also capture the rest of the terrorist organizations. On a final note, I said something off air that with the politicization of the release, I think it's also important not to castigate anyone, but to say that let us learn a lesson from this. Now the APC, or we can talk about Oyo State governor coming out, and we condemn that. It's not a good thing at this point to politicize it. But the APC, recall that Senate President had said that because of the election cycle coming next year, we have seen an increase in insecurity. That was politicization. So if we condemn what Governor Makinde did or said, then we must condemn what some APC surrogates or even political stalwarts have said as well, attributing the increase in insecurity to an election year and cycle coming. What we're asking for is fix the situation.
If
people can be bold enough to perpetuate these acts of terrorism, whether before an election or not, it says a big thing about whether or not we're able to handle it. But today we say this.
Yes.
The Nigerian troops can and have handled this.
All right.
Well done.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you again. Welcome home to our school children, our teachers. Thank you to the Nigerian Army, the DSS, and all the security forces that helped rescue our children. Meanwhile, Rufai, a shocking and horrifying report from Kogi State, where terrorists were said to have abducted the dead body of a Federal Road Safety Corps deputy commander identified as Augustine Ikue on the way to his own burial in Benue State. Well, according to eyewitnesses, kidnappers stopped the funeral convoy on the road on Friday, abducting his corpse, as well as the individuals who were escorting it to the burial. Ikuwe's body was later found abandoned in a Jule, with the abductors now demanding 50 million naira for the release of the others. Can you imagine this story, Rufai? This story has sent shockwaves across social media, with many pointing out that even the dead can no longer rest in peace in Nigeria. Your thoughts?
Very sad one. It just shows that these people have not yet gone. So please, the same way at which we did this for the Oyo kids, we need to mobilize Oji. We need to go there. We need to show these people a strong message. Like I said, we're laughing woo-weary. When somebody thinks they have madness, you give them the madness back. Yes, you can argue with me and say the morality of this, the legality of this, and no. Because the person that gives you madness must know that it's not legal to give you madness. So when they give you, you give them back. We need to fish these people out. The kids are still there in Boronu.
Yes, that's the big thing.
That's the next assignment now. The military architecture, the same collaboration of which they did it, it is time to move to Boronu, where Askia, what's the name of that?
Askira Uba,
Askira
local
Uba.
government area.
They have two assignments now. They have Askira Uba, they have Woro. In fact, the last time the military went and they camped in Woro for a bit, I don't know why they didn't go into the bushes and everything. They must be able to go into Woro. The people too, they kidnap, I think some in the churches and everything, they must be able to map us. So what we now need now is, we need a central command that lists all the kidnap cases, that can point the coordinates of where these people are, that can trace the people involved. You first profile the terrorists that are there, trace them, those that are involved, now look for the links to these people. When we look for the links to these people, then we attack. You see, today I'm so excited about what the military did.
Yeah,
you mess them up.
Yes.
That's why I'm proud to be a Nigerian. That's what we are saying. You mess them up.
Yes.
It's not that you be playing with body, that you be saying this thing. You mess them up. Can you see today? See the way I'm celebrating Nigeria. We mess them up. And please, I know a lot of conspiracy theories saying, what people that they kill? They neutralize them.
Yes, we saw
they
the
neutralize them. Let's not now bring in this skepticism. See me, I'm a big skeptic, but when I see truth, I say it.
Yes.
They neutralized them. For the first time, they didn't pay ransom.
Right.
We couldn't say of other times. But this time they went to them, they took the fight to them, they neutralized. And I would like to say salute to Lieutenant Isaac. They say other people too lost their life. We give our honor. But I'm so happy that you went there. You messed up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, thank you. We're all really grateful to the security forces at this time. But this story was quite shocking, Ayo. I mean, that comment, like, in Nigeria, we cannot rest in peace again. I mean, abducting a dead body. This is really, unfortunate. But thank God he was laid to rest, and everything worked out for that funeral. But the people are still out there. We need them to come back home. Now, this story dominated social media all weekend. Peter Obi's explosive interview, in which he alleged government persecution over airport parking rules, sparked a fierce response from the Minister of Aviation, Keyamo, who in a lengthy post on X fired back, ordering Peter Obi to publicly apologize to airport staff and pay a 25,000 naira fine for what he described as wrongful parking at Abuja Airport, or face fan action. Within 1 week, Keyamo attached CCTV footage to the posts, stating that on July 4th, Peter Obi's police driver parked his vehicle unattended in a prohibited drop-off zone for approximately 30 minutes. Keyamo said the CCTV footage confirms that nobody was in the vehicle when it was clamped, meaning security staff had no idea whose car it was. He added that Peter Obi then called the airport manager personally, introduced himself and used his influence to get the vehicle released without paying the fine. Keyamo described Peter Obi's subsequent claims of persecution as a false narrative designed to score cheap political points. Ayo. Well, this generated fierce debate online, with many asking whether a sitting minister should personally intervene in a routine parking fine or leave it to airport authorities. And I'll read some reactions online. This is from Solution, not Soludo. Solution, who wrote...
Soludo is Mr. Solution.
Yes, so he's Soludo Solution, you're correct.
Yes.
Well, this is not
That's his
Soludo.
nickname.
He wrote, this video doesn't even prove anything. If for anything, the video proves Peter Obi right. First, according to the narrator, if you leave the car behind, it will be locked. However, the driver was hovering around the car, but immediately he went the other way. Those guys came and locked the car. That's a clear sign of targeted monitoring and waiting for the driver to step out so the car can be locked. Second, there are other cars parked in front of the car, but the video doesn't show that those other cars were locked too. Also, what's the difference between parking the car and remaining inside the car, and parking the car and leaving the car behind for a moment? All these don't prove anything but further support Peter Obi's claim of targeted bullying. For me, that's what I saw with the CCTV footage. I did see that, you know, the driver was going in and out, but there were other cars that were parked in that same lane. What happened? So that question should also be raised. But also the question about why is a minister responding to a parking fine? Well, Julius Adebayo wrote, Peter Obi's case ceased to be an ordinary parking enforcement matter the moment he publicly alleged that the federal government was trying to frustrate and intimidate him. Once such a serious allegation was made against government institutions, the ministry was duty-bound to establish the facts. Releasing CCTV footage and explaining the sequence of events was aimed at addressing those allegations with evidence. The real question isn't why Keyamo responded. The question is, should the government have remained silent after being accused of political persecution? Public allegations deserve public clarification, backed by facts, but you wouldn't know that since you're, I mean, I guess they're responding to Peter Obi's support. And then finally, Ada Ogbu wrote on X, as a member of the team that accompanied His Excellency Peter Obi to the Abuja airport on Saturday, July 4th, I can state categorically that he does not have a police officer as his driver in Abuja. Therefore, if airport CCTV captured a police officer entering the driver's seat of a vehicle, that vehicle could not have been Mr. Peter Obi's. It is also important to note that Mr. Obi travels through as many as 10 Nigerian airports every week. Over time, there have been several acts of hostility directed at him and members of his team by airport personnel across different locations. While based on the account shared by the Honorable Minister, it is clear that the incident Mr. Obi referenced during his interview with Chude did not occur on the date or at the airport cited by the minister. There are plainly two different incidents. All right, I'd love everyone to comment on this story. I'll start with you, Ayo, and then Dr. Bati, I'd also like for you to comment on the legal aspects of these sort of allegations, and of course, Rufai. We'll start with you.
Let me try and keep it very short. So this is beyond, of course, since the person involved is a person of interest. And then the person of interest had made certain allegations during an interview which we spoke about last week. It's not just about him. It is the fact that when you're being picked on, even if you cough or you sneeze, there would be an offense that you could have committed based on that. The first commenter was well within their rights to say that if you look at the other cars, you know how the airport operates, there are big signs there, in fairness. No loitering, no parking, just so that they can ease traffic on that road. And we know how hungry they can be with regards to clamping your car and you paying the fine. Therefore, even if there might be arguments for, other people are doing it, as long as you are guilty of it, it doesn't matter who else is doing it. You are guilty, you have to pay the fine. So that's on one hand. The other side of it then would be this talk of being targeted and being picked on. And Mr. Peter Obi is not the only opposition member that is saying the same thing. It can be said about other things said by other parties, saying that because I dared to stand for elections, and perception is key. If someone has made an allegation that because of his standing, everything he does is under extra scrutiny, he talked about even his business is being targeted, then it's important that it is not seen to be proven right that what he said was true. Because like he mentioned, even though he might have stayed or loitered against the set down law, there were other people who were doing it. Why was his own vehicle targeted? But beyond that, it doesn't justify that. Yes. And then finally on this point is that Mr. Keyamo, I've seen other post saying that when other people of interest violated, the processes, some people had eyewitness reports of a video of a senator shouting at staff and almost holding a plane to ransom. We didn't see any, quick response or CCTV by the Minister of Aviation releasing a CCTV about it.
No CCTV.
No, we didn't see the CCTV. He said it was going to be. There wasn't something to prove that he actually did it. Okay. This time we became an investigator.
We wanted a
investigator. When Kwamwam did his own thing, I'm not saying don't. What I'm just advocating against is double standards. If you're going to do it for one, ensure that you're doing it across board for all. We want things to work in Nigeria, and there's nobody that should be above the law. 100%. But if it's being done, there should be no double standards. 100%. It should be the same across board.
Dr. Bati.
Okay, first, the first principle is that nobody is above the laws of their land, whether it is Mr. X or Mr. Y. But in this particular case, the issue is that a car was left for over 30 minutes at a point where they said drop-off spot only. Was it Mr. Peter Obi driving the car? Was the car registered in his name? Was he in any way complicit in terms of the amount of time that car spent in that place? Because it could have been a hired vehicle. It could have been some commercial driver that took him to the airport. It may not be a vehicle registered in his name or that he drove himself. That's first point of clarification. The second thing is that Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation Development, now says, yes, nobody is above the law, but to the extent that Mr. Peter Obi was involved, he's been given 1 week to go and pay the fine. Well, I'm sure that if the fine becomes an issue, 25,000 naira, they probably will get over 2.5 million, because there will be too many persons, including present company, who will say, no, you can't embarrass Peter Obi. We will pay on his behalf.
There are 3 people here. You have to point it out. No, there are 3 people here. Which one?
Well,
I don't know if I'll pay any 25,000 naira fine.
I've just made my point.
No, I will not agree.
Now, the third point is
I can pay it, no
Mr.
problem.
Peter Obi is saying that he's reacting because Mr. Keyamo, Festus Keyamo, that is reacting because he had alleged political persecution.
Yes.
So that's the context of it. Now, and I take note of that because last week, Mr. Peter Obi said he's receiving the kind of treatment, the kind of vibes, either with his business or with his other activities, that will give the impression that he may not be alive before the 2027 general election. Yes. And that's a very serious allegation that the state should take seriously. Because in this country, we have had cases of political persecution in different shapes. We have even had cases of unresolved assassination. It was in this country that Chief Bola Ige was killed. It was in this country that Chief Dikibo was killed. It was in this country that Funshaw Williams was killed. It was in this country that Suliat Adedeji was killed. So if you are a politically exposed person and you then say that you have fears and anxieties about the way, you know, the kind of reactions you are getting from the state, I think the state has an obligation to take it seriously.
Yes.
The state has an obligation to ensure the protection of Mr. Peter Obi, whatever the details may be, as well as other persons of political interest. Nobody should have any anxiety that he may die before the election.
Right.
And that protection is very important.
Right.
Because in other jurisdictions, when you are politically exposed, you are entitled to a certain level of protection.
Yes.
The fact that you want to be president, or you want to be governor, or you want to be even local government chairman, does not mean you should lose your life in the process.
And last week we did see a response from Bayo Onanuga, which we actually reacted to, and that was quite... Yeah.
So I don't know, and I'd like to put an open question. As the Department of State Security officially giving Peter Obi security aid as we speak, because as a presidential candidate, state security is mandatory. Is entitled. So have they officially given him? Because if they officially given him, is the security aid by the state that should be handling all of this? But secondly, Oji, you will be a blind man to say there's no political persecution against Peter Obi. Festus Keyamo is my friend and brother, but this their reaction just confirmed it. Pure and simple. We're in this country where they were begging for Kwamwan. They went to stay in front of plea.
That was something.
If Obi stayed in front of plea like that, the country would have scattered. We're in this country now where they were begging for Kwamwan, where they were saying that, please leave him, we know what he has done. So then the next thing, a video comes out. It was unnecessary. Like I said, it is not everything the government reacts. If Obi had even said that, I mean, they could have just kept quiet, and it's not everything. It was unnecessary. Secondly, Oji, we're in this country when my very good friend and brother, Governor OjyOkpe, said Peter Obi should not enter Edo States without getting security clearance from him. Oji, you know what happened that day? There were gunshots.
Yes, we took the story live.
And we're gunshots. So if you say that's not political persecution, enough. We're here where people were saying that we want to debate you. Everything is this Obi. If this government feels that Obi is not peppering them in any way, that is a no contest and everything, if the man talk, don't respond. But as long as you keep responding, it means that is a very fundamental factor in all of this. The man has come out to say again that most of his friends don't even talk to him. He's been ostracized in parties and everything. I mean, you will be blind to see that these are not political persons. And quickly they remove CCTV. Oshomole, so they didn't remove CCTV. Oshomole was going and defending it.
Yes, I mean, thank you all for your submission, and this is a sort of conversation we need to have in the lead up to the 2027 elections. We don't want to hear that the opposition is unfairly targeted, and I believe that his, comments or his allegations should be investigated. There was another ex-user that I read saying that Peter Obi does not travel with police in Abuja. They should investigate that. Yeah. Was that the actual CCTV footage? And if it wasn't, what are the legal implications? And those are the questions on the table for the Honorable Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo. Now let's take this story that is stopping the trends. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Remi Tinubu, is generating fierce reactions once again online after calling on Burna Boy, Asake and Davido to use their wealth to support poor and vulnerable Nigerians. Speaking at the launch of the National Community Food Bank in Kogi State, the First Lady was direct, declaring that the burden on government is simply too much to carry alone. Let's take a look.
Nigeria is a great country. We have a lot of wealthy people, but our priorities are different. And I think it's high time we started helping those who need help in the country. I want to appeal to our young ones in the entertainment industry. I've mentioned it before, and I will use Akon, a music icon who does a lot of great charity work. They make it the Burna Boys of this world, Asake, all of them, Davido. We want to see you with one foundation or the other, helping the poor with your money. Not just good cars are good. A Maybach is good, Rolls Royce is good, but still, you can still help. There are pepper sellers, there are vegetable sellers, there are okra sellers, melon sellers, akara, kuli, akara is delicious. I can tell you that.
Yes. Akara is very delicious. We said it being cake, right? Very delicious.
Now, mama, be this so.
Let's go. Well, you know, this comes weeks after her Akara controversy and has sparked yet another debate with Nigerians pointing to the fact that the First Lady is placing the burden of poverty reduction on celebrities rather than squarely on government policy. Burna Boy, Davido, and Asake all have foundations and already give back significantly. So Nigerians online are asking why the First Lady is telling these musicians to help the poor, while the government that has presided over record food inflation and economic hardship continues to describe itself as delivering on its mandate. And I'll take some reactions. Gona wrote on X. Wait, so Davido and Burna Boy are now the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Are we paying taxes to Spotify and Apple Music or to the federal government? If the burden is too heavy for you people, I beg, resign. Make we give the country to music producers to manage. All right. Jeffrey wrote on X, oh, that's very good and fair by the First Lady. But a month ago, some funds were used to acquire vehicles for APC women leaders in some states in their own names. Why wasn't that fund also channeled into their foundation or any other foundation as well? Food for thought here. I mean, they're not going to leave this APC car donation from the First Lady. You know how I'm coming to you before I take more reactions really quickly.
Okay, thank you so much for this. And I think that first commenter, you are wicked for that and hilarious.
Yes.
But on a serious note, though, the First Lady was talking about how people can contribute. And to be honest, first instance, there's nothing wrong with asking well-meaning Nigerians to help, because the reality on ground is that there are a lot of poor people. There are a lot of people that are suffering, and the 1% of the 1% do not reflect the true state of what people are going through if you go to the hinterlands. And so we have people, even without asking them, Burna Boy has a foundation, Davido has a foundation, Wizkid. These people are Nigerians who never forget where they are from and continue to give back. So I think before she asked, they've already done it. So here is the big thing. A lot of, if not all of these people achieved this success in spite of, despite, and against all odds. Nigeria cannot boast to say that they contributed significantly to a lot of the young people who have made a success of themselves and because of that are able to give back to their nation. And this is where we should be thinking about. What I would like for the government to do is to think, how can we raise more people who can give back to their country because of the investments that the nation has made in them? How can we create music academies for young people like Davido so we can have the next rising star who is not trying to pay from a pocket that's already dry to be able to make it in life? The tech bros that we talk about who are also giving back to their nation, how can we provide an enabling environment for them to thrive so that we can have more young people who are prosperous enough to pay taxes that the government can then use to look after its people and not have to solicit for these people to come back and give back to a society that was not instrumental to making who they are. And so today I celebrate those who, against all odds, despite how Nigeria has failed them by not supporting their dreams, by providing an enabling environment, to say thank you for that, and to then pose a challenge to the government that you can see the benefit of raising and tapping into the potential of young people. Can we invest beyond rhetoric, beyond talk shops? Can we invest so that we can have more young people who can come back to contribute to their own country? This is what we're asking for. Nigerians have bright stars, bright minds, people who can come back and do great things. We're not here to just ask them for money. We're saying that what can Nigeria do to ensure that we have more people who can contribute significantly to the nation? And this is not a joking matter. It won't take beans. It won't take akara. It won't take kuli kuli.
All right. I'd like to take comments from Leke Leke, because we told you we'll be reading your comments. This person wrote on Leke Leke, I don't think there is anything wrong in asking for support from well-to-do Nigerians. The challenge is this: what is the government doing that is making it difficult for her to cater for her citizens' needs? Setting up a charitable organization is not just the challenge. How will they carry this out with ease, considering the high costs of commodities? Let the government also do their part to make life easier. But the plea from the First Lady is a welcome request. I wish for a balance from the government also. Hashtag what's trending. All right, this is from our viewers on Leke Leke. Thank you for your comments.
We appreciate her, Mama. Mommy, if it's the Ferrari and the other exotic cars, Mommy, but you have gold now. You have trinkets.
All right.
You have
No, but Mommy gives a lot.
No, she can also sell her gold and trinkets to be able to give more.
All right.
Secondly, the car they bought for
we highlighted that, yes.
And they can go and sell all of them.
Make you sell it, yes. Very good.
But the last point I want to give Oji. Mommy said they gave 50,000 for a carousel. Mommy, the problem is now that money cannot even pay for WAEC.
All right.
So please, they should also increase that so that we're able to pay for WAEC.
I'm already a Remi Tinubu convert.
Oh, you are?
Every Saturday morning, my wife and I, we take akara and pap.
All right.
To support our mission. This is the position that we have taken.
Okay.
However, I think the basic point is she's talking about giving back to society, because the video Ashake and Burna Boy has a school, a training school for a football academy. The video gives out about 200 million every year from its foundation. Ashake Empowerment Education Foundation is supporting education and hygiene. But the whole idea to give back to society, to support government, is about civic duty and responsibility. And I think that she's right on that score. And it's at all levels. It doesn't mean the people who ride Maybach and Rolls Royce alone. Even at Rufai is giving back already.
Yeah.
So you can give back at any level whatsoever. And I think that's the message that everyone should take away.
All right.
Support community, give back, so that all of us can have that. After all, African philosophy is about Ubuntu.
Now our mama be this, no get another one. Now our mama be this.
Mama be this.
All right, well, okay. Now we're on the milestones. Today marks exactly 1 year since Nigeria lost former President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away in London on July 13th, 2025, at the age of 82. Born in Daura, Katsina State in December 1942, Buhari first came to power through a military coup in 1983 before returning decades later as a democratic leader, winning the presidency in 2015 on his fourth attempt, becoming the first opposition candidate in Nigeria's modern era to unseat a sitting president. He served 2 terms until 2023, campaigning on fighting corruption and insecurities, though his tenure was marked by economic recession, rising insecurity, and prolonged medical absences. He was buried in his hometown of Daura. Muhammadu Buhari leaves behind a deeply contested legacy, celebrated by some and criticized by others. He was a soldier, a military head of state, and a 2-term elected president who led Nigeria across 2 very different eras. One year on, what is undeniable is that Buhari was a pivotal figure in Nigeria's political history, a man who shaped the country across 2 generations of leadership. May his soul continue to rest in peace. More on the milestones. Today we celebrate one of the greatest literary minds Africa has ever produced, Professor Wole Soyinka, playwright, poet, novelist, essayist, actor, singer, composer, and fearless advocate, who turns 92 today, July 13th. Born in Abeokuta on July 13th, 1934, Soyinka has lived a life of extraordinary courage and creativity. In 1986, he became the first African to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, a moment that changed the world's perception of African storytelling forever. He also received the Benson Medal from the Royal Society of Literature, the Academy of Achievement Golden Plate Award, and the Anisfield Wolf Book Award for Lifetime Achievement, and the Europe Theatre Prize. Beyond his literary genius, Soyinka spent years fighting military dictatorship, going into exile, and standing firmly in the trenches of the June 12 struggle for democracy. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent warm felicitations, describing him as a global icon who does not let the man die in the face of oppression and injustice.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Congratulations! At 92, Kogi, as he is affectionately known, remains as sharp, as fierce, as unapologetic as ever. A man who has never let comfort silence his conscience and never let power intimidate his pen. Nigeria is immeasurably richer for having him, and the world is better for his words. Happy 92nd birthday,
92nd
Professor
birthday.
Wole Soyinka. Now, Dr. Bati, I'd like to take this story for you. We'll take the story that has the internet in stitches. Ugandan army chief and son of President Yoweri Museveni, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has gone viral again for demanding Jay-Z hand over his wife Beyonce to him for marriage, declaring that he would stage a solo protest at Kampala City Square to demonstrate his love for the 44-year-old global superstar. Ugandan social media cannot stop talking about it. Dr. Abati, apparently this army chief has done this before, and Beyonce has given no indication that she's aware of Muhoozi. This man is not just any fan. He is the heir apparent of Uganda's longest-serving president, a man with real military power. Dr. Abati, over to you. What's happening really quickly? Briefly.
Well, this is the tragedy of Africa.
Yes.
This is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who has been groomed to become the next president of Uganda. At the moment, he's chief of defense forces.
Yes.
And he is quite quickly, gradually acquiring a reputation as a clown. The other day, it was Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni that he said he wanted. He was ignored. This time around, he has posted a lot on X, saying that Jay-Z should come and hand over his wife to him. He thinks that, the tribal chief that he is, that's how it operates in the United States. And of course, Jay-Z and Beyonce have both ignored him. He says he's going to stage a public demonstration titled, "I'm Here, Beyonce Demonstration." We are waiting for that demonstration and what will come out of it.
Yes.
But if this is the next man, character, nature of the man who is going to be the next president of Uganda, then I pity Uganda and I sympathize with the people of Uganda.
All right, fantastic.
I think they are in trouble in that country.
All right, they are. Well, all right, on that note.
Why are you people against love? Why you people have desire?
He wants to step on another man's wife. He thinks that this is traditional Africa.
All right, okay. Well, on that note, I'd love to.
Even current kings in Nigeria cannot try it.
We all had fun. On that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis on what's trending. Meanwhile, Jay-Z shut down the Yankee Stadium for his anniversary. On that note, I'd like to thank you all. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. Here we have Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z featuring Alicia Keys. Enjoy it and I'll see you all tomorrow.